Hey everyone and welcome to The Explainer. We've got a really great one for you today. We're going to be digging into a classic moral tale from our source material that is it's absolutely fascinating. It's the story of a poor farmer named Ramdan, and it really gets into these massive themes of resilience, the dangers of greed, and ultimately what it actually means to be truly wealthy. If you've ever had a moment where life just totally threw you a curveball and wiped the slate completely clean, I think you're really going to connect with this one. So let's jump right in.
Okay, so the tragedy in this story hits incredibly fast. Imagine this. Ramzan, our main guy here, takes a huge leap of faith. He borrows money to plant his crops, and for the very first time, the harvest is looking spectacular. I mean, he's literally promising his daughter dolls and bangles, he's telling his wife they're finally gonna have a moment of peace, and then, bam, a massive violent storm just rolls out of nowhere right at sunset. Just one single night of blinding flooding rain completely submerges his fields. All those hopes, all that grueling hard work, his family's entire future, just totally washed away in a matter of hours.
All right, part one, the devastating storm.
It's a shockingly rapid downward spiral. Just look at this timeline. You start with the buildup of hope, right? Taking out the loan for planting season, the crops flourishing beautifully at harvest time, but then that devastating evening storm hits, and literally the very next morning, desperate with absolutely zero food left in the house, Ramdan goes to the local moneylender, Seth Hiram. He's just begging for a tiny bit more time to pay off the loan. But instead of showing even an ounce of mercy, the moneylender completely evicts him. He just seizes Ramdan's ancestral land on the spot.
And listen to Seth Harikam's response here, because it is chilling. I care about papers, not emotions. Wow. Harikam is just so cold, calculating, and entirely driven by legalities and greed. He literally kicks Ramdan, his wife Sunita, and their starving kids right out onto the street without a second thought. And this forces Ramdan's family completely into the terrifying unknown.
Moving on to Section 2, Survival in the Forest.
So you gotta ask, how on earth do they survive this? Well, they wander out into the forest and actually stumble upon this old, ruined hut that belongs to a kind sage, and he lets them stay. And Ramdan? He immediately gets right back to work. He's out in the forest, sweating all day cutting wood and hauling it all the way to the market just to sell it for pennies. They are surviving on the absolute bare minimum. We're talking dry bread and boiled vegetables. But it's such a powerful testament to honest hard work and family unity. Because despite this aching hunger, they survive without a single complaint. His wife fully supports him, the kids literally stop crying for food, and they find this incredible strength just in being together.
Which brings us to Section 3, the magical Golden Cave.
Now see, Ramdan is driven by a completely different definition of true wealth. He doesn't want to be a millionaire, you know? He ventures way deeper into the forest just to chop a little extra wood so he can buy some jaggery, just a simple sweet treat for his daughter, and maybe, eventually, a new sari for his wife. It's this really beautiful, selfless love that makes him push past his limits and actually lose his way in the deep, dark woods just as another storm starts rolling in.
So he's lost, totally exhausted, and terrified that he's never going to make it back to his family. But then he spots this strange, glowing yellow light. He follows it right into a cave and discovers an entire village just shimmering with solid gold. But here's the wild part. The human population of this glowing realm, zero. Literally none. It's this surreal, empty place, populated only by these mystical guards and a very mysterious king.
So the guards take Ramdan to the aging king of this magical realm. Ramdan is totally honest. He explains the whole situation, the storm, getting evicted, the daily struggle just to buy a piece of bread. And the king's reaction is just incredible. He rewards Ramdan with a small vault of golden coins. The king actually tells him that people like Ramdan, who fight tirelessly and honestly for their families without complaining, well, they are the actual kings of the world. It's an incredibly moving turning point. Ramdan gets rewarded purely for his integrity.
Overjoyed, Ramdan makes it back home and immediately pays off that massive debt to Seth Hariram. But here's what I love. Rather than just sitting on this wealth like a dragon, he systematically builds a business. Step 1, he buys a wooden cart. Step 2, he scales up sourcing wood directly from the forest. And Step 3, he actually opens a godown, a warehouse, selling wood and coal, and starts hiring local people. He literally uses his blessing to create jobs and uplift his whole community.
All right, Section 4, the price of greed.
But wait, this leaves us wondering, will the greedy moneylender get the same reward? Seth Hariram just cannot accept that Ramdan has become this successful. He suspects there's a secret, so he decides to literally stalk Ramdan into the forest to figure out where all this sudden wealth came from, and he follows him right to the hidden path of that magical cave.
It's actually fascinating to compare their two approaches here. On one side, we have Ramdan's original entry into the cave, right? He was lost, desperate, seeking survival, and profoundly grateful. But on the other side, Seth Hararam walks in driven by pure greed, intense jealousy, and a literal intent to steal wealth that doesn't belong to him. He practically demands to see the king, boasting that his big brain is going to outsmart Ramdan's dumb luck.
Well, when Seth tries to push his way into the inner sanctum, a blinding flash drops him into total darkness. The magical guards stop him dead in his tracks, and the king's voice just booms out, "Your punishment is decided by your deeds." The king calls Seth out right there for stealing the land of the poor and then trying to steal their fortune too. So, Seth is imprisoned in the dark cave by the guards, just a direct poetic punishment for his relentless greed.
And finally, Section 5, The True King.
Look at Ramdan's character arc here, it's just incredible. Sure, his wealth went from destitute to prosperous, and his social status flipped from an evicted outcast to a respected employer, but the absolute most crucial change? It's his attitude. Before the cave, he was hopeless but still hardworking, and after, he remains completely grounded and incredibly generous. He literally never let the money change his core values.
And because of those unwavering core values, something massive happens. The aging, airless magical king summons Ramdan in the middle of the night. He reveals that he has been quietly watching Ramdan's progress this whole time. He saw exactly how Ramdan used his wealth to help the village, how he remained honest, and how he never once fell victim to greed. Because of all that, the king officially offers Ramdan the throne.
Ramdan accepts this huge responsibility, promising to always stand by the poor and fight injustice. But his reaction afterward is what really hits home. When he goes back to his family, wearing the crown and these royal robes, his son asks if they are royalty now. Ramdan looks at him and says, "We will live as servants, not kings." I mean, wow. He completely redefines leadership right on the spot. He rejects the entitlement of the crown and embraces it instead as this profound duty to serve others.
And so I want to leave you with this final thought today. What makes a true leader? The crown they wear or the burdens they carry for others? You know, Ramdan's journey from a ruined, flooded field all the way to a royal throne wasn't won by swinging a sword. It was won by honest sweat, profound humility, and just an unbreakable dedication to the people around him. It's an absolutely brilliant reminder from our source text about what real wealth and real leadership actually look like. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and definitely keep asking those big questions.